Hey, what is going on, everyone? Thanks for watching my video today. I am in a great mood this week because this is a huge week for sports. We got the NBA trade deadline coming up. I'm hoping the Sixers trade for James Harden, but even if they don't, there's a ton of interesting stuff as I covered in my video yesterday. Check it out if you didn't watch it. But more importantly, this Sunday is Super Bowl 56. Super Bowl Sunday is upon us, the biggest game in all of professional sports of the year. And I'm really excited for this matchup. It's a really nice, fresh matchup. We got the Bengals, who, of course, last year were not that good of a team. They finished last in their division. Their first overall pick, Joe Burrow, tore his ACL early in the year. A lot of talk was made about their poor defense, their poor offensive line. But in the offseason, they draft Jamar Chase, Burrow's college teammate. They had a absolutely transcendent season on offense. Other offensive weapons like Joe Mixon, T. Higgins were also electric. The defense got a lot better. It was powered by off-season signings like Trey Hendrickson off the Saints, who proved to be a very effective pass rusher. They also had DJ Reader, a guy they signed the year before, who was hurt most of his original season. He was a big part of the defensive improvement. You saw the secondary get a lot better. Jesse Bates is one of the best safeties in the NFL. And while that offensive line is still a concern, as they allowed 9 sacks against the Titans in the round 2 playoff game, nonetheless, the Bengals offense was able to get the job done, beating the Chiefs in a major upset and making their first Super Bowl since, I believe, 1988 or 1989, late 80s. But what a turnaround, what a Cinderella story for this Bengals team. And on the flip side, you got the Rams, who admittedly they did make the Super Bowl. I believe it was 3 years ago, the 2018 season. They lost to the Patriots after their win over the Saints in the NFC title game, the controversial Nickel Roby-Coleman game. But only 3 or 4 years later, this team looks a lot different. Matthew Stafford came over from the Lions in the offseason trade, and in his first year in a new city, he went from never having a playoff victory to being in the Super Bowl. They got all kinds of weapons. They picked up Odell Beckham midseason after Robert Woods tore his ACL. That was a great addition to the team. Cam Akers just came back. He tore his Achilles in the summer, and he's already back in these NFL playoffs. And and of course, Cooper Kupp is the big story on this offense. Him and Matt Stafford have almost as lethal of a connection as Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Some would even say just as great of a connection. But Cooper Kupp, he was very close to setting the single season receiving yards record, reception record. He had a great season. Their offensive line is a lot better than that Bengals O-line. It helps the passing game a lot. And their defense, we know how good their defense is. That was what got them in the playoffs last year. Aaron Donald, one of the greatest defensive players of all time. Jalen Ramsey, a great corner. Mid-season acquisition like Von Miller at the trade deadline has been proven huge. Leonard Floyd, they got all kinds of guys. Eric Weddle even came back, a future Hall of Famer. He's not what he used to be, but they got talent all over this team is the main point to take away. So you come in this matchup, and like I said, it's a fresh matchup. I really like it. This year in sports has been really interesting. We had really nice to see all the fresh matchups. We had a Suns Bucks finals. We saw the Montreal Canadiens in the Stanley Cup. We saw the Atlanta Braves go from barely making the playoffs. Of course, the Phillies could have been there if they just won like 4 more games, but the Atlanta Braves won the World Series after many counted them out. It's been a great year for sports championships, and I think the 2021 season will wrap up and complete that cycle with a great Super Bowl here. But for my actual prediction of the game, I think it's not going to be a blowout, but I do anticipate a Rams victory. And the reason I say that is like what I alluded to. That Bengals offensive line, although it's held up in this playoffs, I think it's going to be a real concern for the Rams. I think Joe Burrow will be able to play pretty well on offense. Even if Jamar Chase is shut down by Jalen Ramsey or at least slowed, he still has T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, even C.J. Uzomah have all played very well down the stretch of the season. I think he'll be able to have a solid game, but at the end of the day, I think Aaron Donald and that pass rush is going to be too much for the Bengals O-line to overcome, and I think it's going to be a little similar to last year's Super Bowl with the Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't think it'll be as big of a blowout as that game because I think the Bengals offense has proven they can overcome the offensive line, the way the offensive line holds the team back a little bit, but so I think they're going to score more than the Chiefs did in last year's Super Bowl, but at the same time, I think that Rams defense is going to be the difference maker. As good as the Bengals defense has been in the playoffs, I don't think they're going to be as dominant as the Rams defense in this game. I think you could see a defensive MVP. You could see Aaron Donald or even a Von Miller, Leonard Floyd type, depending on who gets in there and gets some sacks. They could be the MVP of this game. But so I'm actually going to predict that. I'm going to say Aaron Donald is your Super Bowl MVP, and I think the Rams are going to walk away with a 24-17 Super Bowl victory here. I think, early on the Bengals might be able to keep pace, but once Joe Burrow keeps getting pressured, keeps getting taken down, I think it's going to be too much for the Bengals to overcome. And unfortunately, they're still going to have to wait for their first ever franchise Super Bowl. I think the Rams win their second ever Super Bowl come Sunday. But it was a great NFL season. I'm excited to see how it's all going to wrap up. So thank you guys for watching my video today. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And have a great rest of your day and have a great weekend watching the Super Bowl.